welcome to Mother Rabbit's kitchen. Mom's room.
Can we just put brown sugar in everything, please, forever?
Amen. The ingredients. So
we know what you're at. Do you know what we're making tonight?
French toast.
Yeah, but it's not just any kind of French toast, because usually when people think of French toast, they think of putting a slice of bread in some egg and milk, flipping it around, then putting it on the stove and some butter.
It's different.
Well, it's a different kind of French toast. It is baked French toast. We're actually going to use a recipe that I found online probably a couple of years ago, and it is the best baked French toast I've ever had. I tweak it just a tiny bit, but not even enough to call it my own recipe. This is totally the recipe of this lovely young woman who has a blog called Kitchen Confidante, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. It's just absolutely delicious. The only tweaks I make are based on like what I have in the house, or what I'm missing in the house, I should say, and we just kind of improvise.
It's up to you to make like different kinds of bread.
True.
Or pancakes.
Yep.
But we're doing
I know, right? That's weird, right? Pancakes in French toast, aren't those two totally...
In it? You mean on it?
In it?
Like in it?
In. You know how we like mix all the bread together?
Inside bread.
We're gonna put a pancake inside of 2 pieces of bread.
No,
Just kidding. No, not at all.
I thought that's right.
We made pancakes on Saturday morning, right? And they were delicious. You and Jana made them, and they were so good.
And we have 3 left over, so my mom had a great surprise, but I just guessed it and I got it right.
Yeah.
And she thought...
I just don't like wasting food, right? I don't like throwing food out at all. So we ate a ton of pancakes, but we still had these 3 little mini pancakes left over. I like to take any kind of bread that I'm making into French toast and let it sit out and get kind of stale. It's like the only time, well, not the only times, but one of the only times when you want your bread to get stale. In her recipe, she calls for a loaf of challah bread. It was getting a little expensive because buying challah bread from the store, that beautiful braided challah bread, it's just a little bit pricey. So I actually made this brioche. I'm also using these leftover pancakes that I just threw in the freezer. I also have this wheat, it's kind of like a honey wheat bread that I made. All of this stuff was just kind of either not going to get used in time, or it was already starting to get a little stale. So I just, as it was happening, I would just kind of like pack a bag in the freezer and pack it away. And I just thought to myself, I'm gonna bring out this bag the next time I want to make baked French toast, and I won't have to buy any bread. So I've always used lots of different types of bread. I've never incorporated pancakes into this recipe. Can we just put brown sugar in everything, please, forever?
You mean like you want to put it in burgers?
In burgers, I want to put in my spaghetti, just like Buddy the Elf.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he does maple syrup, but why not brown sugar? So let's get started. We just have a few steps. You want to actually do this the day before, or at least 30 minutes to an hour or a few hours before, because we want our bread pieces to really soak in that yummy egg mixture, that custard, so it can just really absorb everything and really just become unified. So when you stick it in the oven, it just knows what to do. It's already just like become one.
What you really would like is thick bread like this thick, but you wouldn't want so thin brownish bread. Because
actually, we don't really judge bread when it comes to baked French toast. All bread counts, all bread matters. So,
and I think this is much healthier than that one.
You are so right about that. This is like the bread that I make for our sandwich bread.
It is whole wheat.
It has, well, we call it whole wheat, but it's got a little regular bread flour in it. It also has wheat germ in it. We're gonna do some bread videos soon. I am not a bread making expert. I actually just got started a few weeks ago, but I'm having so much fun making all the mistakes and learning from them. So what we're gonna do is I just kind of slice it up just to get it easy to rip up. But before we do the bread, I would like you to spread out the butter. You can kind of stick your hand behind it. Ooh, it's like a little like plastic wrap goes. So stick your hand in there. It's going to protect your fingers from getting all ooey gooey with the butter. And if they get ooey gooey anyway, who cares? You can just wash them. So go ahead and spread that butter around. You want to get every corner. And why do we put the butter in the bottom of the pan and on the sides?
Because you don't want it to stick.
Right. It's almost like a paintbrush or a baby wipe, like you're wiping Camden's booty. That's kind of a weird thing to think about when you're making food. You really don't want to go there. You're doing a great job. I see some spaces over there. Make sure you get those edges and the corners. Good job.
All squeezy and buttery.
All squeezy and buttery.
Amen.
Okay, we're going to put this to the side for a moment while we rip up the
We're going
bread.
to get a big bowl and add some dry ingredients.
Well, we're going to just, oh wait, you know what? I know. Before we put the bread in there, I want to mix our wet ingredients.
Yeah.
So that
Great idea.
the bread is going to go swimming in the wet ingredients. They're going to be like jumping on the diving board and just like technically, the recipe calls for 4 eggs. I'm going to go ahead and use 5. I'm just going to go
So you're
over.
going to use all of this?
Yeah, I'm going to just
sure it's
go
not too
over it because I do have a lot of bread here and I just really want to make a big fluffy French toast. So I'm just going to go over a little bit on all the ingredients.
Yeah.
This recipe is very forgiving if you don't use exact measurements or you just kind of want to eyeball the measurements.
Now let's
I've done it a
crack
million
the
times,
egg.
pretty much every time I've made this recipe, and it comes out
Now-
perfect.
Now let's
Good. Remember, one half the shell inside the other half. That can just kind of like make a little boat, and then it goes right down the tin. Good. Over the middle of the bowl. Remember? Oh wow, that.
was a show off. Like a
So this is, oh okay, I'm gonna run out of buttermilk. So this is one of my tweaks, okay?
It's a
So
thick butter.
we're supposed to be using 2 1/3 cups. I have barely 2 cups there. So I'm gonna just grab some regular milk. So I'm gonna do 2 cups and then I'll do another cup.
Improvise on this?
Yeah, I think we're improvising a little bit. Let's stir that in. We love to do breakfast for dinner at least once a week. The way we make breakfast for dinner, it's kind of more like dessert for dinner, but there are eggs in it, so, you know, it's protein. We also usually have some sausage on the side, some chicken sausage or turkey sausage. Oh, it calls for a 1/2 cup of sugar. I'm just going to put like a, oh wait, why don't I have a 1/2 cup? Calls for a 1/2 cup of sugar. I have a whole cup here. I'm not going to fill it up all the way, but I'm going to go a little over half of this since we did an extra egg.
And we do it over it,
milk.
just like that.
Oh, baby.
And we're mixing
Now we've got
it.
my biggest baby bunny, my 9-year-old baby bunny, who is growing up way too fast and going into 4th grade next year.
Okay, sir.
And she's going to help us too because she finished her homework. We're going to do a tablespoon of vanilla. And I always say I'm way too lazy to measure vanilla. So I just, a tablespoon is the same as 3 teaspoons. So it's like 1, 2, 3.
That's all you need. It's
That's
not.
all
it's,
you need, baby.
Gina, can you stop standing on my stool? I'm sorry, I can't reach the bowl. Can we switch?
And just like I measure vanilla, this is how I measure my cinnamon. It says a teaspoon.
You can tell me when to stop.
Okay. That looks good. That looks like a teaspoon. Yeah.
Stirred in.
The cool thing about this brioche bread too is
Wait,
it's
brioche?
yeah, it's brioche.
Oh,
Yes.
I love brioche.
I made actually with this same recipe. I made
I love this.
the actual regular French toast, but I did like a crust on it with oats and special K cereal, which I'll do in another video. And oh my gosh, it was so good. This was leftover from it. And I love brioche because this recipe actually has sugar and egg and lots of butter and vanilla. It's almost croissant-like. Speaking of croissants, you can use any kind of bread you want, any kind of good bread. I don't grab like generic sandwich bread, Wonder Bread, or anything like that. That's just too soft and mushy. It's gonna fall apart. You want something really good that will stand up and something
thick and spongy.
Yeah, something with muscles. And sometimes I cut it up with my bread knife, but I thought it'd be fun for the kids to tear it up. So you want to tear it up. I'm gonna start it so they can see. You're gonna tear it up into just like just chunks like this,
You don't really
and they're gonna just go swimming. Swimming in the pool.
Oh, we're
See?
feeding the ducks.
It's a pool party, everybody. Yep, feeding the ducks.
You could put just all bread in there.
You could like practice your shooting hoops. Awesome. Uh-oh.
Is that a snack?
Out of bounds.
A snack.
Sure, that can be a snack. Okay, so now, this is the cool part. I've never put a cooked pancake in French toast before, but it's bread, essentially. Like, why not? It's breakfast.
And
All right, so Jana, you're just in time. We added our brioche bread. We're gonna tear up our pancakes tear the pancakes up into smaller pieces. You just took a bite of the brioche. You wanna try it?
Yeah.
It's a little bit stale, because
Yummy.
you like it?
Why don't we break up the pancakes?
Okay, so break them up into little small pieces, like this small.
Okay.
And then practice your shooting hoops. Sky. Before we add this last part, let's give it a stir. I want to see. Go ahead and give it a stir. But when we stir this, we want to dig and kind of like fold over. We don't want to smush the bread.
I didn't do it on purpose.
And you can smell the buttermilk in there. It's tangy. You can smell the cinnamon. Oh my gosh.
Very nice and
I can't believe we have to wait a whole day to eat this. All right, let me give this a little toss real quick.
Hey, guess what?
What?
Well, I'm actually touching the camera.
Oh.
Hey, guess what? We Mama let us pour water bottles all over us, and we got wet.
Isn't that wonderful? Soaking wet.
Yeah, we do.
In their school uniforms outside.
Yeah, we don't even care.
We have no shade in our backyard. It's all sun. So if I want them to play out there, I have to give them water bottles to cool off like a puppy. All right, I think we actually have plenty of custard to put this bread in here. So why don't you guys start tearing this up?
Yeah, sure.
I like the end pieces because they're so crusty. They absorb.
I like the inside. Me too.
Go ahead.
Scoop it right now.
Scoop it out.
Make it all fresh and even. It wouldn't. And then when it's cooked, it will taste nice and
I'm gonna
put in this. So do I.
So we're gonna cover this with plastic wrap and set it in the fridge to chill overnight.
Okay, now to start the toppings.
Yep. Do you guys remember what the topping is called?
The oat streusel.
Oat streusel, very good. We kind of went over a little bit on the ingredients, so I'm gonna go over a little bit on the crumb topping as well, or the oat streusel. The recipe calls for 1/3 cup. We're gonna do that, but we're not gonna be so careful about like leveling off our flour. We're gonna actually go a little bit over. We're gonna overdo this a little bit.
Yeah.
So go ahead and put that in.
Now we will.
And
My turn next.
Yep, we need some
Brown
sugar.
Oh, she can do the brown sugar and I can do the sugar.
We need 1/3 cup of brown sugar.
Pour the whole thing in.
I think it's really heavy, so I'm gonna just kind of pack it down like that.
Ooh,
And I'm gonna go over. Whoops. Uh-oh. Is that too much brown sugar? I don't care. So the recipe calls for 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so just a pinch. Go ahead. Good. And then a teaspoon of cinnamon, which we just kind of shake in. She did the cinnamon last time, so you can do it last time. That looks good. Does anybody remember what this is called? Yes.
No, I don't. It's a masher. Let's call it a banana musher.
I do use it to mush my bananas. It's called a pastry cutter.
Pastry.
And we use it when we're adding cold butter or any kind of cold fat, like cold shortening or anything like that. Okay, so we're gonna.
Better.
Okay, I'm gonna add this butter that I already cubed up. It is 4 tablespoons of butter, but I'm gonna cut just a little bit extra since we went over with the other ingredients. And we're just gonna start kind of pushing that down.
Yep.
We want to keep the butter cold and in little pieces. If you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use your fingers, but work quickly because your fingers will start to soften the butter and you definitely don't want that. Okay, so you need to push harder so the butter actually cuts through. It's kind of like little butter knives cutting through. Why don't you get a big scoop of these oats? It calls for, I think the recipe calls for 1/4 cup. I usually do 1/3 cup, and since we added more of everything, do a heaping 1/3 cup.
I'm picturing an old lady watching, just stirring batter.
I hope an old lady is watching and cooking with us. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Like this, Mommy?
Yeah.
But when,
Okay, I'm gonna show them what this looks like. It looks like wet sand. Can you guys see that? And I always go over on the oats, so I can't help myself because oats, oh my gosh, they're just so good and they're healthy. I mean, if we're gonna have breakfast, dessert for dinner, yeah, just put in extra healthy stuff. We got extra eggs, we got extra oats. Let's do it up. So I just blended the oats with my fingers real quick just to blend it all together. This is ready to go in the fridge. It will keep the butter nice and firm in its place, and this lid never stays on.
Okay, so this French toast has been sitting in the fridge for a day, and now we're going to put the topping on. Oh, it's an oat streusel, and make sure you do it so the butter doesn't melt in your mouth. I will demonstrate it like this, and you have to put it all evenly around it. Yep. Just get it covered. Yep. Fill out every single nook and cranny, as our grandma would say. Just sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle.
Good job, Cammy. Good job.
I want to share. He's like, I want to taste it.
I want to taste it.
Corner, so you don't see anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's like, I don't care. I'm just eating. Let's cover
He's
it.
like,
with
this is
salt.
better than cookie dough. Oh, good job.
Much better. And this should be the finishing touches.
Yeah.
And you're
Oh yeah, you definitely want to get every last crumb on there.
ready.
Good job. We're gonna put it in the oven for about 50 minutes on 350. You guys have to try it. You can see the recipe down in the description, originally from kitchenconfidant.com. Go make this right now. See you guys soon.